going to try not to spend enough of my time or an amount of my time looking over there so that the thumbnail is not again me going. But I have gotten possibly around a third of my commentary left, gotten two-thirds of it, and that is without any input, now I'm looking that way, from anyone online, any response, any direct response to these videos that I'm putting out, this invitation that I am sending out to get anything directly from your beliefs, even if you don't believe it. Just anything that you've heard or what you might teach, although some friends have talked to me about it. That's not quite the same because it's not a very wide response. A lot of these people, I already know what they believe, and I've already been covering that. The best response that I've gotten about any of this so far has been in the chat section of someone else's live stream, where they gave me a verse that I didn't have, or a chapter, or whatever you want to call it, a place in the New Testament that I don't already have, that they think is very beautiful and supports this second coming idea. But no matter where I look, and even that I've been able to look into it now, and I don't see it supporting a second coming. So if you still think that I'm wrong, I want to hear about that. I want to know from you where I might be wrong. I can give you a little taste of what I've been working on, just a little bit, because I just covered both Thessalonians and part of Timothy, although I still have, I believe I have Timothy to finish, or maybe I'm on Titus now, where I've noticed a peculiar thing, a very peculiar thing in, let's say, the ISV, where the idea of the second coming has been inserted into that translation. And this seems to be something that happens a lot. And I'm not talking about the word perusio being equated to erchomai in every instance, because every instance does not equate it to such, but you will see the word perusio translated as coming, and you will see the word erchomai translated as coming, even though it should be kind of obvious that those are not the same thing. And there are even instances in which the sentence structure would suggest that perusio is speaking of something different. The ISV did something where it inserted 3 little words in reference to Paul talking about receiving the crown of righteousness on that day, because he says that his day is drawing near. He has finished the race. He can feel his departure coming, his death. And then he talks about where he will receive the crown of righteousness on that day. And then the ISV says, at his coming, which is not in the Greek. It's not in the ESV. It's not in the King James. It's inserted doctrine. Somebody who already believes something that wants to include something in the text, saying, well, Paul can't be talking about the day he dies he'll receive the crown of righteousness, which others will also receive for enduring in the faith, which he says right after. So he must be talking about the coming of Christ, the second coming of Christ. That's when he'll receive the crown. So let me just write that into the text. And that's a problem, because that's not what he's saying. And if you disagree with that, let's talk about it. Please. I know this is a parody channel originally. I'm not trying to catch you. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm not here to argue with you. I want to hear from you. That's it. And it doesn't even have to be on this channel. It doesn't have to be a video that I post. It doesn't have to be a live stream that we do. But if you also want to invite me to something, I would be happy to join you. and discuss what I've been working on. I believe there are, besides the Old Testament books or Revelation, because I cannot include Revelation, I would have to write about every chapter in Revelation. And I don't have time for that in my commentary, which is supposed to hopefully be done this year. I have 30 places in the New Testament, from the Gospels to the Epistles, that cover this topic. And I dive deep into them, and I look at what the text says. I look at what different translations say. And I basically give my thoughts on what it is saying without first presuming that they are about a second coming or a rapture, which I don't believe it says anything about a rapture either. So please, if I'm wrong, help me. If you just want to hear from me, invite me. But I am inviting you in a very serious way to have an actual critical discussion with deep thought. I pray the Lord bless you and bless our conversations.